And welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about one topic that sometimes I have the chance to talk with other developers and also non-developers. It's why I don't switch engine, why I don't change engine to something different. But before going to talk about this, I'm going to do the usual summary for what I've done this week, and also take the chance to say thank you very much to all the ones that support me on Patreon. I'm very sorry, usually I don't say this in the videos, I should do more often, but I now take a chance to try to recover. There are not many people that support me on Patreon, but I really appreciate each one of them because I really understand how much it is strange to take some of your money and pay someone just because he's making videos on YouTube or give some content here and there. So again, I really appreciate your help, and even if in the future you can't support me anymore like it happened in the past, because I had to stop to make videos because I went back to work full time. So I really understand the situation, so don't worry. But for what you do until now, I really appreciate it. And even I hope to keep this good relationship within us, because most of you are very close friends. So yeah, thank you very much again. Now let's go to talk about what I've done this week. So as you know, I'm doing this freelance work where I have to work for a company that need to develop this video game. I can't give you much information yet about the game, but hope in the future I can give you more details because I really enjoyed the process, enjoyed all the things. I'm really excited to see what's coming out, but I can't share it yet. So just hold on, hopefully when the permission comes from the top, I will be able to share with you all this content. So therefore, I work 5 days per week, so all my days, working days dedicated to work as a freelancer. I didn't have much free time, but I could manage to squeeze in a tutorial for Construct about the card game in Italian, and that's it. After was so extremely tired, I couldn't do much because it's really with so much short time we are really to do so much rushing, so much, very concentrated, very stressful, but in a positive way. But it's very tiring. So at the end of the day, I don't want to stay anymore on the computer to make much other stuff. And so I just try to check email, this kind of thing, just catch up with what I have to do, and that's it. So that's why I haven't done much. So that's it for this week. Let's go to talk about the topic about this video. So should I change engine? As an introduction, I want to remember that I'm still using Construct to develop games, actually using Construct 2, so it's not even the latest version. And then everyone suggests me to move on in something more popular like Unity, for example. So I will have more chance to find a job. So this is like a little bit on the introduction about the topic. So this is more a topic that we talk about when it's coming to work as an employee or as a freelancer, so basically work for someone else rather than develop your own games. But still, some of the points we're going to see now, reason why you should change engine or you shouldn't change engine, will be still related to even to your case if you just are thinking to develop your own game and just work for yourself. So let's start with the why you should change engine, and if you are, by the way, some other points you want to talk about and to suggest, you are very welcome to write them in the comments so we can discuss there and see more point of view, because of course there are so many things to consider. I just give some of the main points that usually we discuss about. Okay, let's start with the yes, why you should. Okay, let's start with what the main reason why you should change is because if you change to something that is more popular, so in this case very specific to changing from something from engine that's not popular to one that's very popular, then you'll have more chance to find the job. So job advertising normally will require to use Unity, for example, is the most present in the job advertising as a skill to have. Therefore, if you move to something like Unity, you have more chance to find a job rather than stay with a like niche engine. And another reason is also because if you change engine, you can basically try even different engine after a little bit of time, and therefore you increase your chance to find something that you actually can do, because of course you know this, you do Unity, you know Unreal, maybe you know C++, C#, so not only engine but even languages. So basically the more you know, the more chance you have to find something. We already talked about be specialized or not specialized. This was related about video games, typology of video games to develop, but the idea is the same. So I'm not going to go in details about this. But so going back to this, if you have a more skill, even if you are not high skill in each one of these engines, but you know like a overall idea, you have more chance to get a job in one of these engineers. So because of course whatever is posted as a job, basically you can do it if you keep changing engine. And another thing that you are forced to change engine because mainly for two reasons. One is because your software is obsolete, like for example you can't develop anymore for new operating system or new consoles or whatever, so you are forced to change to something new, because otherwise you can develop only for old system and no one use, or very little amount of people use the old system. So therefore, if you want to survive in this business, you need to change with this one, or otherwise your engine doesn't support a certain kind of a feature, like for example online multiplayer. Therefore you are cut out if you don't do change from the older engine to a new one. One example of this is Flash. As everyone knows, Flash doesn't support anymore, isn't support anymore around, and therefore if you haven't tried something new, you're basically cut out. You can't find any work with Flash. So therefore, if you do this changing before the end of the software that you're using, you are more likely to survive. So let's go now to see why you shouldn't change engine. Well, the first case is in the case you're using an engine that is a niche, so not many people use that software. So therefore, if someone offers a job that requires that engine, you have less competition. So I understand this is not the best case scenario that might happen. Usually there are other reasons, but this is another reason that it could be one of the reasons why you shouldn't switch, because you have less competition. Rather than if you switch to something popular, many people will apply for the same job. Another reason is that if you stick with the same software for a long time, like for example, I'm using Construct 2 since like I think 7 years now. So you know inside out the software, and every day you still learn something new, even after so many years. So the longer you stick with one software, the more chance you have to improve your skills with that software, and you know what the real potential of the software and its own limitation. Like for example, if you see the early video games for every console are much worse than the latest games of that console just before the end of life of that console, because during all this process the developer learn how to develop the games and to use the machine, and not only the software but even the machine, as much as they can, and find tricks to push out of the normal limitation the machine and for the software, to realize beautiful game that compared to the first one that been realized is just unbelievable how much it's changed in maybe in just 5 or 6 years or 7 years span of life of the console. So this is one real life example that everyone can see easily. So once again, stick with the software and you know better the software, and you can use it, squeeze as much as possible from that software. And therefore, still talking about this, you are more efficient. So not only you can create a better code and more quality product, but also you save a lot of time and therefore a lot of money to develop a game. So this is also very useful if you work by yourself, you develop your own game, not only if you are employed by someone or work as a freelancer. So this is these two topics, 2 points are very important for everyone. It's not only to get a job. And another point is also, you know that sometimes some software might have a certain kind of problem that normally you can solve because either is not supported or the software cannot handle that thing. But the more you work with that software, the more you can create workaround. So you can basically do something that is to get a similar result in a different way or in a way quite similar. So some sort of a trick. So this is a good thing that you will learn you to do this only if you stick with the software for a long time. If you keep switching from one engine to another, you're not able to learn these little skills here. And therefore, another thing to add about this reason why you shouldn't switch to another software is because when you develop many games, of course, first you can remember very well how to do some function, some code without even thinking about it. You just start to type and you do it. And second, you can just literally copy and paste part of the code from another game, especially if you are creating in modules, so everyone is separate block of code, and then you can recycle for all the games you're creating. For example, you can create menu functions or option functions or enable audio with volume on, off, and discuss. All these things you can be recycled for any kind of the game. It's not really specific to a type of game, like let's say now you've done platformer and tomorrow you do a shooter, you can recycle most of the code. But for these core things, you can just keep recycling all the rest. And especially if you use even more, you create the same kind of game, then you can recycle so much. Sometimes you can even basically just reskin the game. So can you believe how much time you save compared to start over everything from scratch with a new engine? Then maybe it's even more powerful or whatever, more popular. But at the same time, rather than make a game in 2 or 3 months, maybe it takes for you 1 year or more just to do the same game exactly, even if it's a little bit of better quality for any reason. But you understand that the time you spend it maybe is not worth the changing. And another thing that I want to say is just bring my example about this latest job I got as a freelancer. I've been contacted for this job because I'm using Construct, and the job is related to Construct 3. I'm using Construct 2. I had to take a license for Construct 3 for be able to open the project, because the project was already there, created 2 weeks before they contact me, so I need to adjust the project. I had to develop the game, so I can create the games from scratch with Construct 2 and therefore give the completed game. So I have to work with something already existing. But in my case, the game works 99% in exactly the same way, the engine, sorry. Yes, Construct 3 has a new function that doesn't have Construct 2, but for the majority is exactly the same thing. And basically I just go and type whatever I need to do without thinking too much. I just think about how to solve this problem, how to create this function. I just type it. I don't need to do any research on how to do this with this engine. It just goes straight forward. So that's the thing. And also yes, it's a niche software. Not many people use it in the professional way. It's very popular as a beginner software. People want to just get into game development, but as a business chance, as a work is very low, it's very difficult. But at the same time, for example, in this local group of developing that are here in Sydney, I'm the only one posting about Construct. So can you believe that I got this job because someone was searching for Construct developer in this Sydney group because it's a local business. This not local business, but let's say this group of people for developing the game is there are this detached part in Sydney, and therefore they're looking for someone in Sydney. I'm the only one posting about Construct in this group, so of course, if someone has this little opportunity, I'm the only one posting about Construct. I'm also sticking with Construct for so many years. I have a much more chance to get the job compared to someone that maybe has used Construct, but is only one of the many engines that is using. And therefore, being specialized in something, give you the chance and more, not only more chance to find some job or be noticed, but also to get the job. So this was one real life example of what's happening to me. Bonus reason for the no, why you shouldn't change engine. Okay, this is related if you develop a game as an independent developer. Don't think about working for someone, but just for yourself or your team. When you make a game, it's important that the game that came out at the end is a nice game. So when the players go and play a game, do you think they care about the engine you use? No, they don't care because they want to enjoy the game. So if here is a Construct, Unity, Unreal, C++, Basic, or any, I don't know, any kind of a 0-1 language, you want to just say anything very basic, nothing changed. The important is the result. People will not ask you, or maybe someone, can ask because they're curious, but they will not change the idea about the game according to the engine you use. So if you are already proficient in one engine, why should you change? Just stick with that, unless, as I said before, there are some reason that you are forced to change, but otherwise don't change. Stick with that engine, keep hold on, and just develop this game and release as much as you can. That's it. Just work hard and you get a result. So if you haven't decided yet which engine to use, first of all, I will invite you to think about which type of game you want to develop. Are these 2D games? Are these 3D games? And so on. And then therefore filter the engine according to which one can do the kind of game you are willing to do. After that, you should just check documentation, read the manuals, see what other people are developing with these engines, and therefore make another selection and see which one of these are doing exactly what they can do, so what you want they do. And then therefore, after you have this handful of engine, you start and you try one, and then for maybe 1 month, I don't know how long it depends to you how long it takes to get a little bit of grasp to the engine, and then change to the another one and try all of them. After you try all of them, then you pick the one you are more comfortable with. So basically you have an engine that is doing what you want and you are comfortable to work with that engine, so you don't need to do anything else. Just stick with that one and just go on and then develop games with that one. As I said before, unless something forces you to change for any reason, then stick with that one and you'll get the game done as much faster than any kind of option like switching from one engine to another and hoping that magically the game develop by itself. No, you need just to stick with one, work hard, and then you get the result that you want. Okay. So now let's talk about the next week. And next week, actually, I got the extension of this freelance work. It's supposed to be finished on Tuesday, but I'll be able to work again for until Friday. Sorry. So basically, it's good news for me, not only of course for money, but also because I have more chance to see the product finish as I wish to develop the game. So I remember that I've been called to help to develop this game, and then therefore the timeline is the 25th of this month. Not many days left, and if I can stay there, I can stick there for 3 more days. I have more chance to have to give my contribution to have a good result, because it will be, also very personal satisfaction to see how the game can change from the when I'm being called until the end, and also it's good for portfolio and everything else. But as I say, the main thing is a satisfaction to be sure that the game is coming out as I wish it will come out. So extra days for me is good for these reasons, but on the other hand, I will not be able again to do anything else. If I've been lucky, not tired enough, that could happen this week, I will be able to squeeze in again the construct tutorial in English for the card game, but I don't think I'll be able to do anything more than this. So if any other news will come out, of course I will let you know. And then say again, I will take the chance now to thank you everyone that supports me on Patreon. I really appreciate it again. I really want to stress this out because I said before, I don't do it often. So thank you again for your support, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.